What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchet REACT, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, Sia?
Today we're back with another American reaction. Super excited about this video. If you're new to us and we're new to you, make sure you scroll down, hit that subscribe button, and turn on the post notification bell because we're on the road to 200K. And we cannot get there without you guys, alright? Join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Let's get it.
Massive change in the UK even happen? To understand, we have to go back to 1996, when the Dunblane massacre changed everything.
Grief, shock and disbelief in the Scottish town of Dunblane.
A former scout leader with a grudge.
It is a tragedy without precedent.
16 tiny children died right here at Dunblane Primary School. The massacre, carried out by a man who had licenses for his guns, was enough to change the UK's gun laws forever. What's truly amazing is that by the end of the next year, it became illegal to own a handgun in the UK. But how did the UK get to that point so fast? It was mainly due to the activism from those personally affected by...
So as of today, UK is clear of artillery. Y'all have no guns. Wow. Just 1 year. Let's see how they did it.
My daughter Sophie was one of the 16 young children who were shot dead at Dunblane Primary School. She and I were on our own. She was my only child.
But after, he found it impossible to return to that life. So he devoted himself to making sure other parents never had to experience his agony by becoming a gun control activist.
Hi. One of my initial reactions after Dunblane was a feeling that this should never have happened because the guns that the perpetrator used have been too easy to come by.
Dr. North combined forces with other people who were touched by Dunblane, like former Scottish Labour MP Richard Simpson. Now, he was a doctor at the local hospital at the time, but then after that experience, he changed his entire career, became a Labour MP, and helped to lead the motion to change the gun laws in the UK.
He did not see that coming. His whole life changed. He did not see that coming.
Yeah.
Wow.
But listen, we have had... People don't realize how many mass shootings we have here.
Oh yeah.
Because everything don't make national news. But the last time I checked, we had 400 and something just this year, and that was some time since I checked.
Yeah. Well.
And just seeing the video, what was it? What do you call the body cam?
Yeah.
The footage from people who were at the mall. And seeing what those guns did to the children. I'm talking about the mall shooting that just happened a couple months ago. And just how easily we could have been there. Things like that is scary. And they wonder why they see things like in the schools, how the rate that people are taking their children out of public schools and private schools is going high. This is one of the things we have to deal with.
Facts.
And nothing's changing.
Nah, nothing. Not everybody that is a superhero wear a cape. And I feel like when you do have people who do have concealed carries, they're going to make the right choice when they see situations that happen like this. But not too many people. But not too many people who have artillery are carrying it around with them wherever they go, because we and again, that conversation lingers on and on to different situations. You know what I'm saying? So it's.
Because, again, we live in a sportsman paradise, you know, so that's one of the arguments. So it's like, and then when you talk about sportsman paradise, when you talk about our hunters, that's how they eat, you know, like not just for themselves, but that's a part of their businesses. So that's why that is an argument. That's why people feel so strongly about it. But when you put yourself in the shoes of, first of all, we can't go to church. It's happening at church. It's happening in the store. It's happening in school. It's happening when we're shopping.
That place too.
When we're at a parade, you know. So it's like, it's such a sticky topic here.
It really is. The good always feel, well, yeah, the good definitely feels that they shouldn't have to suffer for the bad. You know what I'm saying? But something need to happen to where we can have a clear understanding that it will never happen again. You know what I'm saying? So
they did it in a year.
They did it in a year, but they took it from everybody.
Right. And
some people looked at it as a sportsman type of sport. But you have the parents who actually went through the situation say that, you know what, you're not thinking about what I went through. Again, it's like no one want that to happen.
I don't want
Nobody
that to,
want that to happen. You know what I'm saying? So what did boss saying on Friday? Put that down, son. Use these.
Yes, yes.
You live to see another day.
Yeah.
Take the loss if you lose.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But these work. Come on, man.
Cowards.
Yeah.
Was the then Conservative government was in the process of actually seeking to deregulate the process by which guns were regulated in the United Kingdom. And that really made me very annoyed.
These two men were part of a movement fighting to be heard by politicians. Residents of Dunblane and relatives of victims started speaking out and organising public relations campaigns and creating petitions.
Politicians weren't necessarily used to hearing from the victims of shooting incidents.
Everyone who says, I enjoy the sport, I want to hold the gun in my hand and have the live ammunition. What I say is, you have those emotions for enjoying your sport, but feel the emotions of a parent who is never going to see their child again.
I don't want to feel it. I don't want to feel it. I don't want my children to feel that from me. Think about, I forgot the state. Look, it happens so much. So I just know events. I don't know like states and names. And but the lady it was a lady, she had just moved because her daughter was about to become a mom or something like that. And she was working at a bank. And the man went up there and, that was a new event.
Yeah.
Things like that. I don't want my children to feel that for me, and I don't want to feel that for my children. I don't want to feel that for anybody. I don't want to look on the news and that's on the news again.
Yeah, 100%. And right here we're talking about shootings at the school, but they have situations and they have laws and they have these things that's like these tables are turning in some real awkward directions. And like, let's say you got some gentleman that's walking up the street, they're drunk at night. They just decide to walk up to the wrong house and they banging on the door. You know what I'm saying? What do she have to protect herself?
Exactly. And speaking as a person who supports concealed to carry, this just puts it in a whole light. They got it off the streets.
They cleaned up the street.
The next year.
That's quick.
The next year. The fact that I have to have a form of self-defense like that is an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Really a massive groundswell, a bit like the climate extinction movement now. It wasn't highly coordinated or paid for.
So we had a petition called the Snowdrop Petition, which was getting the public to sign up for a ban on handguns, eventually gaining over 700,000 signatures. Within 2 years, a total ban on handguns had been introduced in this country.
By 1999, over 165,000 guns and over 700 tons of ammo had been surrendered.
There was a lot of opposition to it, and it was suggested that it would actually badly affect people who used guns for sport, but it hasn't done so.
What we did was a major achievement, and I'm very satisfied with what we were able to do.
Dunblane happened. The gun laws were overhauled before Columbine even happened, 2 years earlier. It's like the precedent was set. We knew what was starting to happen across the world. And 2 years later, on April 20th, 1999, 2 teenagers shot and killed 12 fellow students and a teacher at Columbine High School near Denver, Colorado. Just like Dunblane did in the UK, Columbine shocked Americans. It wasn't the first school shooting in the US, but those images captured on live TV set something off that had ripple effects throughout the country. And just like in Dunblane, no one was closer to the situation than the victims' parents.
I'm the father of Daniel Mauser. He was one of the students killed at Columbine High School. He was 15 years old.
Like Mick North before him, Tom devoted his life to fighting for gun control, even taking a year off from work to lobby at the state capitol.
Just 2 weeks before Columbine, at the dinner table, Daniel asked me a question based on a conversation that he had with other members of the debate team. He said, "Dad, did you know there were loopholes in the Brady Bill?" Brady Bill is a national law that requires background checks to purchase a gun. And I just kind of blew it off. He was then killed with a gun that was purchased through a loophole in the Brady Bill. I mean, how could I not act on that? To me, that was very prophetic. And it made me realize that when we have loopholes like that, when we have so much carnage in this country, we have to do something about it. I became very vocal, active.
And Tom did make some very real progress on a state level soon after, helping to introduce a bill to close the same gun show loophole he and Daniel had discussed over dinner. In 2000, the public vote...
That's crazy. I just don't... I feel like there's that, like, when people put these things in order so they can kind of have control over how sales go out and things of that nature, I don't see it being a perfect experience, because not everyone's going to be told no. Not everyone's going to be told yes. And then when you just look over history, you know what I'm saying? Now, if you want to keep pointing on how this should never happen again, I feel like people can all come to the same conclusion. We should not have certain people should not just have guns. Like, right. That's how it should be. But when you look at the history of it, it's conflicting with how time has been. You know what I'm saying? When guns were used for this type of stuff, when guns were used for this type of stuff. So it's...
It's a sticky... And the fact that I'm saying it's a sticky situation is crazy. I know it's crazy for y'all hearing it, but just tuning into the town hall meetings, tuning into, you know, all of the laws and the policies and knowing what's on the ballots. It's like, and then living in Texas, baby, Texas love their freedoms.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so getting all 50 states to agree on something.
I don't know about that one.
Look what happened to the congressman in, I believe it was Memphis, Tennessee or something. Like, they made a lot of noise about the gun laws, and then they tried to vote them out, and the people vote them right back in. And it was about the gun laws.
Do you remember whether they was agreeing with keeping gun laws or not having gun laws?
Take it out.
And they got voted out for that? And then they got
St. Louis? Missouri. That's where it was.
And they got voted right back in?
Yep.
After they got kicked
voted
out?
right back in, because that was that was last year. That was last school year. So this was like May or June of this year. So that was right after the private school shooting.
Voted and passed Colorado's answer to the Brady Bill by an overwhelming majority of about 70%.
I felt that I did something to honor Daniel. I did something in response to something he brought up to me.
But this small victory at the state level in Colorado was overshadowed by strong national backlash against gun safety laws. Barely a year after Columbine, then NRA President Charlton Heston gave this famous threat.
Hold on.
A famous threat.
He just got that look. He just got that look. But, and that's what I was saying, that it's hard for all 50 states to agree to something. Yes, he did something on the state level, but the federal level gonna always overpower.
We all don't think the same when it comes to changes. You know what I'm saying? So having everybody come on one page when it comes to change is very, very, very difficult.
Look how we get in the uproar over simple policies put in place to help marginalized people. Look.
Yeah, it's...
And when I say we, I'm speaking as Americans. I ain't saying I support. Yeah. Y'all get it.
Cold, dead hands.
In America, we are so wrapped up in individualism and rights that we say, well, no, we can't do that because that might possibly affect my rights. And for a lot of people, that's more important than what could possibly happen to them or their neighbors. It's a cultural issue that is very starkly different between us and other nations. I think it's shameful in the U.S. that we have failed to really react in any significant way.
Since Columbine, the narrative in the US around gun rights and gun control has only become more polarizing.
Restricting law-abiding Americans from acquiring guns is obviously unconstitutional.
Is it time to repeal the Second Amendment?
The left has their rigid, radical, anti-gun agenda.
Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47.
In the US, barely any federal gun control laws have passed since Columbine. In fact, experts say the most significant change in gun law is when politicians let a Clinton-era assault weapons ban expire in 2004, making assault weapons weapons like AR-15s legal again. Since then, the AR-15 has been used in almost every notable mass shooting in America. And the problem continues to get worse. The US has more firearms per person than any other country in the world. And it's the only country in the world that has more guns than people. And the US gun homicide rate is 25 times that of other high-income countries, including the UK.
The main problem is not necessarily the Second Amendment, but how that has been interpreted.
In America, there needs to be an understanding of how to tighten the law without grossly infringing on what are perceived of as rights under the Second Amendment.
But it does seem ridiculous to use the words of the Founding Fathers to decide how you control or don't control weapons that are usually used in war zones.
There have been so many mass shootings since Columbine that many Americans feel hopeless about reform. The fact remains, however, that 61% of Americans do support stricter gun laws. And there are many potential changes, such as closing the gun show loophole or restricting assault weapons, that would make a huge impact and would not go as far as a total ban on firearms.
It takes a long time sometimes. It's not just changing the laws. You also have to change culture to get people to be willing to change the laws.
And perhaps there'll come a time
I'm gonna just let him talk.
when enough people vote in politicians who will be supportive of the gun control measures that America needs and deserves.
No one has kids so they can buy them bulletproof backpacks. You have kids so that they can hopefully thrive in a better world than you did. We really have to ask ourselves if we're giving them that opportunity.
Right. Talk about the bulletproof backpack. That was the turning point for us. You know, looking to see how much is a bulletproof backpack. Deciding whether or not to put little beads on the ends of our kids' hair at school, because if something happened, you know, their hair is going to make a sound.
Mm-hmm.
All of these different things that we have to adjust, and it's like, y'all wonder why people are taking their children out of school.
Mm-hmm.
Our babies need to be protected.
Yeah, I'm just not up for the whole situation where, you know, you run up in the school and you just cause harm freely to people who never done nothing, who wasn't even thinking about,
innocent,
you know what I'm
children.
saying? Very, 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 very innocent. But I am here for, like, well, people need to be able to protect themselves, you know what I'm saying? Because, again, not everybody think the same. We are dealing with, you know, difficult times and measures when it comes to people. And then again, I do think...
Mental people.
Yeah, I do think very, very bigger than what I'm speaking, only because this is I just got to keep it here with you guys.
Certain things we can't say.
Certain things I'm just not going to even topics I ain't going to even talk about on here with you guys. But at the end of the day, people need to be able to protect themselves, and I think there should be something enforced where we need to understand where your hate space at. What's your history? You know what I'm saying? They got background checks and all that stuff, but that's just so long before future reference a person is all of a sudden triggered now.
Ooh, Lord. Yeah. Like the video, subscribe, turn on the post notification bell. We have enabled our super thanks if you like to support the channel that way, as well as our reaction request form is in our description box below. We'll see you soon. Peace.